Welcome to Sabah Society. I think most of you must have known Clement, otherwise he wouldn't be here. Clement, I know Clement, why we are playing golf. So you know, he is a guy of multi-talent. When he gets into the water, he can dive, he take photograph. When he gets on the land, he can play golf. And then we go out to do birding photography ourselves. You know, we go to the jungles. Yeah. And then this is the guy. Clement used to be at the younger time. He was the Sabah dive ambassador. Diving ambassador of diving. So he promotes Sabah. So actually, the Sabah diving business, he got to be one of the biggest promoters. You know, so his shop is well recognized by the Sabah tourism department. So Sipadan is one of the places that he has put in a lot of effort. He has done a lot and lot of promotion. And what Sipadan had known today, his contribution is immense. You know, so I don't want to talk a lot more. So I think we can start and let our friend to tell his story about Sipadan, how he started it, and how it became popular. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Clement Lee.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Datuk Chairman, Datuk President, I would say, and also Evin and the committee member for inviting me for tonight's presentation to talk about Sipadan. A little bit background quickly before I go into the detail. I've been diving for 40 years. Started in 1982 actually, and I developed Sipadan, pioneering Sipadan for almost like 40 years now. And that was way back in 1983. I'm retired in 2012 and happily retired. And my wife, Ivy, is right here. And actually, I was starting my hobby in terms of diving 40 years ago, but I evolved into golfing. And lately, because of MCO, which I had nothing to do 3 years back, I have to take up the bird photography, which I'm deeply involved in right now, but not a professional, but as an amateur. I contribute to a lot of articles, I think, to the Daily Express and so on. Now, I'm 71 and I'm still diving. A lot of divers are here. Actually, before, I must ask, how many of you are divers here? Actually, can you raise your hand? Whoa, 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 hooray. That's good. Well, my second question is automatic. How many of you have been to Sipadan? Even more so have gone to Sipadan. That's good. Now, I must emphasize here that I have left Bono Divers 10 years ago. I sold it to another gentleman. And with the permission, I have to represent Bono Divers this evening because Bono Divers and Sipadan are just connected. We started it all together to pioneer the island. But I want to correct somebody's conception, say that we discover Sipadan. No, we did not discover Sipadan. Sipadan has been there for years. So we only develop it and pioneer the dive resort management in Sipadan and make it one of the most famous dive sport in the world. So that is how it started, and that's the story we go. If I won't be able to tell you all the story in one hour time, so I will sort of cut short and tell you the relevant. But tonight's topic is involving a lot of environment, so I will focus on the environment. Yeah, next slide, please. Okay, that is how the story of Sipadan started way back in 1983. Next slide, please. And before that, there was no professional diving, professional certification. The evolution of diving actually started way back in 1982, where I got certified. That's how the story began on the dive industry. Next slide. Yeah. Okay. That's me. Yeah. I want to tell you something about diving, and because we cannot move away from the ocean environment, and that is why I always say that the ocean environment is our human synergy. They are the silent partner. The ocean is our silent partner. They don't speak, they don't talk, but they will fight back if we don't treat them well. If they are ill, we are all going to be sick. That is what I have been promoting all this while. Very, very important. Next slide, please. Okay, a brief history. I was certified in 1982 and first open water divers. And together with three other partners, my three other partners are Randy Davis. Some of you might have known, he's an American. He's now staying in Labuan. And the late British guy called Ron Holland. All right. And the third one is another local Malaysian, Samson Shark. He's in Kota Kinabalu. He's not here this evening. So we formed Bono Divers. We were the first one to start or introduce the professional certification and also the dive resort management. And while we were charting the diving industry direction, we came upon on the chart datum this specified island called Sipadan with a drop off of 600 meters, which is 2,000 feet. On the chart button it shows. This is really mystifying. So we decided to exploit 600 meters. You know, our twin tower in Kuala Lumpur is only about 400 meters plus. So Sipadan depth is actually 1.5 times. I don't know, deeper. It's not taller, deeper than the twin towers. So it's a very special island. Next slide, please. Okay. In early 1983, me and Ron Holland went for the exploration. We were diving at this drop-off here. I tell you what, this is mind-boggling. I've seen the net snapper as big as 3 feet 1 meter, and they were swimming towards me. They were not like one or two, there were a school of them. Huge fish. And my thought at that time, oh my God, I was really diving in the living aquarium. It is a living aquarium. The only difference between an aquarium is you walk and watch the fish inside the glass panel. But in Sipadan, when you have a neutral buoyancy, you pass by the fish pass by you one by one. All different kind of fish. It's just mind-boggling. I remember very well the first word when I popped my head out of water. I told my partner, "We have found our future." They mean the dive future. That's what I'm trying to say to him. And that is actually happened. We make it happen. Next slide. And Sipadan happened. Uniquely, the only oceanic island in the whole of Malaysia. In general layman term, oceanic islands mean this island is by itself. It's not connected to any continental shelf at all. It rises by itself from the ocean floor. 2,000 feet, 600 meters. And a lot of mystery talk by the local fishermen is a mushroom, it is a mushroom structure, it's cylindrical and so on. We never know, because I never did go down to 2,000 feet. Almost did to deeper, which I'll relate later on when the late Jack Cousteau came. So, on the left-hand side, you see the light green is not 2-3 meters. The dark blue, 600 meter drop. Eventual depth is 600 meters or 2,000 feet. Now, that explains the reason why we have so many different types of marine fish. You see, if this is the wall here, and the current is hitting the wall, bringing the nutrient onto the wall, and it's going upward, the fish will follow upward. That is why we're seeing so many different kinds of fish, barracuda, jackfish, giant parrotfish, shark, and so on, following the nutrients, food to go up to shallow end. So that is why it is so full of marine life. I must say that at that point in time, 1982 and before, there was no dive resort, there was no dive resort management. Nobody could ever tell us what to do. Everything we did was try and error. I must say that it is not as easy as what people think it to be. A lot of sweat, pain, blood, and everything. A lot of difficulty, but we went through all this one. We were threatened, we were, name it, we have gone through it. Huh? Next slide, please. Yeah. Now, the only thing that I like to highlight tonight is that we have based our pioneering on the dive resort management on two principles. Where is two philosophy? Next one. Number one, environment. Yeah, environment, as I said to you just now, is a key factor, and I will elaborate a little bit later on. The second one is the dive professional. Now, why I say that, I will elaborate also. Next slide, please. Now, I need to tell you that we actually don't inherit the earth, the ocean from our ancestors. Actually, we just borrow from our children. Whatever we do now, we actually have to represent our future for our children. That is why I say again and again, conservation and protection of the environment remains our number one key. In my course of being a dive ambassador for Malaysia, where I go promoting everywhere, I advise every dive resort to focus on environment, even our local dive operator here. Why? Because the diver who are coming here to dive in Sabah and in Malaysia, if they know the resort, particular resort is emphasizing and focus on environment, they would go and buy the package from you, because they know that part of the money they bought from you for you will go back to the environment. That is the keyword. That is the one that I've been trying to tell people. So promoting on the underwater environment is the keyword. And that is also, this is the next slide, right? That is also exactly the reason why we stood up and decided to vacate Sipadan voluntarily 2004. I will elaborate a little bit more on this issue. This is very crucial. Why we left Sipadan in 2004. Next slide. Okay. Now, question asked is, can conservation and protection of the underwater environment and ecotourism coexist? Because some people say you either do this or you cannot do that. You do this, you cannot combine them. I say yes, of course. The answer is yes. I'll show you. Next slide. Yes. Okay, so for our effort, that is how I'm going to state the story of Sipadan began. Next slide, please. Yeah. First, environment. Prior to 1988 or 1987, we started in 83. We never have any chalet. We only have camping facilities. That's basic facility. We bring the whole thing there, set it up, do the dive, one group, and move out the next day. So that is how we started. But until 1987, we started building this one. After, believe me, after an EIA, nobody would have thought it. EIA has been done on Sipadan. We spend a lot of money. We have actually what do you call the architect term in terms of drawing the chalet, but we never carry out the plan on building what we draw in the architect draw. Why? Because of environment. We feel that if we follow the architect drawing, we would have surrounded the whole island with chalet, which we didn't want. So it never happened. But the EIA has been approved. Okay, next slide. So with a lot of financial constraint and difficulty to protect the fragile environment in Sipadan, topside and underwater, we implement and enforce a lot of regulation and policy. It is a love-hate situation. Some people like it, some people hate it. So that's why I say we have been threatened. Next slide, please. And I need to show you the few policy we enforce. One of them is we use a biodegradable soap, because the chemical from the thing will actually damage the water. If we take the water from underground And if the chemical seep in, it will actually damage the chemical, the water level. That's why we enforce this rule. The second one, please. No laundry on the island for the same reason. We move the laundry out to the mainland for doing the laundry because the chemical can damage the water. Thirdly, desalination plant. People think that we are mad. We are crazy to invest at that time 200,000-300,000 on a desalination plant. Is changing the seawater to the fresh water so that we don't take the well water, because if too much of the well water is taken, the water table will actually drop below the water line of the tree that is on the island, and it actually happened, which I read again. So a lot of trees die later on. We minimize the generator noise pollution. We muffle it up. See. And then next one, all garbage removed from the island to the mainland for disposal. Next slide, please. Okay, turtle eggs. This is one of the biggest controversial we have ever encountered, because there were people who were granted turtle egg right collection, but for conservation purposes, our company at that point in time, with another operator, decided to combine and pay the turtle egg collector whatever amount they want, so that they don't collect the eggs and leave the egg right on the islands. But it didn't work for long, simply because of the controversy that I was talking about. Because the right holder have a lot of different families. Some say yes, some say no. A lot of control, they decided they cannot allow conservation to take place. They still want to collect the eggs, and that was why a lot of problems started from there. Yeah, so we did not, at that point of time during our operation, we did not allow any eggs collection. We stopped it to allow it for natural hatching. Now, actually it works actually. And then night time, as I mentioned just now, we use a tent. When you're sleeping in the tent, sometimes we hear the sand splashing onto the tent because the turtle was digging the hole for the lay eggs. The number can be between 20 to 40. We have seen that. This is by counting the track. Of course, we don't count it, but they are the track. It's like a tractor track going up. So there were plenty of turtles at that time. Next slide. And we have a light, but we don't shine it towards the sea because we want to allow the turtles to come out to lay eggs so that they are protected that way. Okay, next one. Then we enforce all the diving rules. Again, this is the one. Just remember, we didn't own the island. We only have a permission from the Ministry of Tourism, KL, to build the resort on the island. But we did not own the land, we didn't own this. So to enforce the rules, this, like I said just now, the love-hate situation. You cannot wear gloves, you cannot touch the coral, you cannot feed the fish. Some people just disagree. There were some other divers that came to island to diving, and I saw them coming in with a spear gun. So I stopped him from, this is from my own experience, I stopped him from going down with a spear gun. He told me to get lost, basically. And he jumped in the water. You know what he did 10 minutes later? A fish, lionfish, he shot it, the lionfish, and popped the gun out of water just to piss me off, actually. And that is, I don't know, I almost ended up with a fight with him, actually. But he was so annoyed with me, and think that you own the island or something like this. Yes, of course, I didn't own the island. We never did. But I want the rule, I want to protect the island. So a lot of rules have been enforced, not agreed by a lot of other people, right? Now, the other next mad thing that people think we did was to buy the decompression chamber. Those of you who are divers know what is decompression sickness is, DCS, all right? The depth of water is no joke. You can be at a different depth of water because of the visibility, good visibility. You might be thinking that you are about 20, 30 feet, but actually it could be 60, 70, or even 100 feet. You didn't know. Then it start coming out fast, and we develop the DCS, which is the bubble form in the bloodstream in general terms. And we spend again 200,000-300,000, go to the bank and bank loan this one, which they say you are crazy. Why do you want the chamber? What is the chamber for? Blah blah blah. So difficult to explain. Anyway, we loaned it and we finished payment at 200,000-300,000. But let me tell you this, we saved a lot of life. 99.9% of those enter the chamber are not our customer. We saved this money. We saved a lot of people's lives actually. But unfortunately, I must admit, they were casualty too. Very difficult to explain, but later on, if I have the question and answer, I would like to explain to you what happened. And that is not a very good thing to watch. And we have one doctor inside there and 2 dive masters outside. This is a four-man chamber, by the way, huh? 4-man chamber, if you know. But two dive masters outside, one was inside. But the 2 dive masters completely quit. They cannot see somebody die in front of them. It is a sad story, but I will explain a little bit later on. Huh? Okay, next slide. Now, seeing the damages on the coral at that time, we started this daunting task of replanting the corals. Actually, this started in Kota Kinabalu. And actually, we spread the growing coral to those damaged areas and replace them. Next slide. You see that when they are planted, they grow pretty fast. You know that corals attract marine life, generate marine life. And that is the reason why coral protection is so important. And this happened, we do all this, and it's grown over from Kota Kinabalu to Sipadan, to Mabul, and so on. Yeah? Okay, next slide. Now, the second philosophy, as I mentioned to you, is the trained and qualified professional. It's an old slide, I know that. Now, I must tell you this one, or I did tell you just now, that the diving industry is a very fragile industry, very fragile environment, delicate environment. It must be handled by professionally trained and qualified people. You take the next slide, I'll show you this. The dive industry will only grow if supported by the trained and qualified professional. Not the other way around, huh? Not the industry support the trained and qualified professional. So this is very crucial. We must be handled by the qualified people. Very delicate. Next slide. And I must also tell you that ecotourism and dive tourism are not mass tourism. We cannot. We practice, next slide, less is more. What is less is more? Let me give you an example, just a notch figure. If you have 1,000 divers that come into you and pay 100 ringgit each, you get 100,000, am I right? But reversely, if you get 100 divers that pay 1,000 ringgit, the result is the same, 100,000 ringgit. You get the same result. But it might be the same money, but the physical is different. 1,000 divers impact and 100 divers impact is totally different. That is why I have been advocating less is more. I mean, a dive industry is such a delicate industry. You have to, and you are handled by professional. You deserve the professional fee. So don't get to the lower price to get it. Let me show me your next slide. And because next, you see, from 1982, before 1980, there was 0 international diver that come in. But today, I realize there are 75,000 divers come into Sabah. Next slide. And they generate a massive income, almost close to 500 million. Now tell me, which dive industry have 75,000 people that generate almost 500 million? 500 million is $500 million, you know. That's a lot of money. And dive industry should be the top notch. The only industry that I realize probably is the MICE group. You all are in a way tourism, MICE, MICE, which is the MICE Incentive, Meeting and Incentive Group. But they are talking a lot more than 75,000, a lot more. Of course, they generate a lot of money. But with this promo figure, it generates 500,000. That's a lot of money, actually. 500 million, I mean, right? Next slide. Now, way back in 1988, I have the honor to meet this lad. This is me, by the way. That was me. Of course, I'm better looking now. The inventor of aqualung, the one who started scuba diving, the late legend, Captain Jack Cousteau. All right? So that is him. That was how I met him in here and in Sipadan. Next slide. Now, the story was like this. You know the scientific ship Calypso? I'm sure you heard about this Calypso. They were actually filming the sperm whale in Indonesia, south of Sipadan. And they were moving northward. They crossed over the borderline, so to speak, and into the water in Sabah. And they noticed this island, amazed by the depth, amazed by the visibility, even more amazed by the diversity of the marine life. So did diving there. They did the diving there at the Barracuda Point and so on. Immediately, they telephoned their boss, which is Jack Cousteau, who happened, believe me, to have lunch or a meal with the late American President Ronald Reagan. He was having me, and he received a phone call, very top urgent. After listening to him, he flew over to Malaysia, to Sabah, to Kota Kinabalu, to Sipadan. Next slide. And he after seeing the Sipadan, he instructed his crew to make a documentary called The Ghost of the Sea Turtle. Now, if you Google The Ghost of Sea Turtle, you can still watch the video of it. Now, I must tell you that this documentary, The Ghost of the Sea Turtle, is one of the two main reasons that exploded Sipadan into the whole world when this film was shown in the 1988 San Diego Film Festival. The other reason I will explain to you later on. So this man is crucial to the development and the popularity of the Sipadan Island. Next slide, please. Now, we met again the late Captain Cousteau when he returned from Sipadan at Kota Kinabalu, and that is where he made a very, very famous quote. I'm sure you know. Next slide, please. That is his quote. I've seen Sipadan 45 years ago and no more. And now I have found an untouched piece of art. He described Sipadan as an untouched piece of art. Now I tell you what, this quote shaped our company direction actually, and even more emphasized on the environment conservation aspect. I must admit this one. I was guided totally by this quote. That's why I can memorize this quote without even looking at it. It is so special. What he meant was he has seen an island similar to Sipadan at that time 45 years ago, and because of the overdevelopment and over commercialization, it was totally destroyed and gone, disappeared. That's why on the island of Sipadan, this legend actually pat on my right shoulder and said, young man, you look after this island. I was guided by him, honestly. I was guided. Here, next slide, please. In 2003, now you all remember, or some of you, I'm sure, there is a kind of overlapping claim between Malaysia and our neighboring country on Sipadan. It's been hot. Before we developed the island in 1983, nothing happened. It's status quo. But because of the popularity increase, they start making noise. And so much noise that they actually wanted to contest it. Eventually, the two country boss, with the president and our prime minister, which is Tun at that time, decided to hand over to the International Court of Justice, I call it ICJ. And they decided that whichever direction ICJ decided, we will adhere to the ruling. So in 2003, of course, the company Bono Daewoo was kind of dragged into it also in a way, because we make so much noise in that area, make it famous. And in 2003, the ICJ ruled in Malaysia favor. That means the island of Sipadan and Likitan Island belong to Malaysia. And they put it under the management of Sabah Park, under the MKM, Majlis Keselamatan Negara, I think, at that point of time. So it was under the ruling. At that time, there were 6 operators already on that time. But the government decided to ask all the operators to move out of the island. All right, next slide, please. Now, as I say, I must relate to Border Devil, although I'm not there anymore. Was the first operator to come out and say, yes, we move, followed by PSR and so on. All right, next. This, I must say, at that time, I was the MD of this company. I must say this was my biggest, most difficult decision of my life. We agreed to leave the island. We stood up and said yes. There were a lot of details which I leave out later on, but I'll explain. And next slide. Now, you can go out, I don't know problem. 0 compensation. We agreed to that. I think the minister thought I was mad. He actually asked me, just a small quote, are you a Chinese? I said, yes, I'm a Chinese. He said, why does Chinese don't like money? And you agree to not to have any compensation. My answer to him said, tell me, sir, with the government, if I sue the government, how long it will take to get my money? You never. You just give me the answer. We never get the money. So I just don't waste my time. But all my decision was governed by our environmental concern on the island. Nothing to do with money, which I explain again. Next. We agreed that this was because we wanted to protect the island and not to allow, now I quote, not to allow the Jack Cousteau, the late Cousteau, quote, to happen to Sipadan. It's because of this I'm still talking to you about Sipadan today. Otherwise, I would be hiding under the table, actually, to be very frank. Right. We feel very strong about Sipadan and the environment. And we have this simple principle. If we are not part of the solution, I don't want to be part of the problem. That's how we feel at that time. Next. Now, honestly, I felt at that time we could and we should earn the money somewhere, but we cannot, it would be difficult to replace the environment that is damaged permanently, just like what Jack Cousteau had mentioned, or perpetually. Cannot. Next. That's why I say this. The environment is our silent partner. They don't speak and they don't talk, but they fight. If they are ill, we are all suck it. You just remember that one, huh? So, all of us, including the operator, not all agree, but we finally sort of move out of the island 31st December 2004. It was a sad day, really, a really sad day for all of us. After pioneering it for so long, the island that was in my heart and in everybody's hearts, to leave the island. Okay, coming back a little bit of history, on a scale of 1 to 10, at the time when I dove in Sipadan first dive, 1983, is 10 out of 10, definitely. But because of the pressure on the island, topside and underwater, because of more operators coming, they come up to 6 operators, more divers coming in. Despite I'm screaming, there's no point. The environment is going down. My observation, by the time it reached up, before it left, it dropped below 5. Can be 3 or 4. It was that bad, all right? Next slide. So why did we as a pioneer decided to agree to leave the island without a sense of compensation? Next slide. If I make a quote, this one, which you have seen thousands of times, probably you understand me. When the last ocean is abused and poisoned, the last coral devastated and damaged, and the last fish eaten, you will realize that you cannot eat money. That is really, truly true. And I say, oh my God, that is terrible. Okay, next slide. So we step forward and support the government to vacate the island voluntarily because friendly strongly felt that the environment cannot be equated with dollars and cents, actually. No, I'm a businessman. I want money, but I don't want my money and destroy the environment. That is true. Everybody do. And I tell you that this is one of the most respect I have for my partner and shareholder. When I made the decision to quit the island, I was alone. I must tell you that I was alone. I said, yes, I quit, without having a board meeting. But when we had the board meeting, I was biting my teeth. And I explained to them why I did that. They only say this thing to me, which is why made me more respectful to them. They say, Clement, you better be right. And I think I'm right. I have been right. Everybody said that. So this is very crucial. And I respect them. Because if the shareholder in the company was different at that time, we would have built all the chalet around the island. No other operators can come in, but we decided no. It will be at the expense of the island. Huh? Okay, next. So, 31st December, last day, we all left. Next. Now, 20 years after we have vacated the island, in my observation, I've seen more fish, more turtles, which is a good sign, more shark, more barracuda, and so on. Despite what a lot of people have told me that the number of fishes, marine life have decreased, which I prove to you later on. Yeah, next slide. I've been asked many times, is our sacrifice worth it? Next slide. My answer, next slide, is always yes. If you allow the natural environment to recuperate naturally, leave it alone. So that is why we decided to agree to leave the island. After we left the island, there were a lot of positive changes on the island, a lot of survey done, scientific done, a lot of stocking done, marine fish, all increases. So they make us happy. All right, next. Now, as I said just now, I've heard so many stories, people say they don't see all these big five. You know what's the big five here? Here they are. Number one, giant parrotfish. Second one, barracuda, jackfish, and then turtles, and then shark. I saw all the five in my dive there. It was in June, July or something like this, right? I went there for 3 dives, and I have figured, I photographed all this. Next slide. She said, this is the picture I've taken. This is the giant parrotfish. Next slide. Barracudas, all right? Of course, jackfish also. Next slide. Turtles, and then shark. All these pictures were taken at that time, just in 3 dives. So next slide. So now look at this. After 20 years, this is what I see. The multi-color, multi-dimension of the marine fish, the coral growth, is just mind-boggling. I don't know why people say none. But I must admit one thing. You want to see barracuda? It's not that you can see it all the time, because barracuda can be circling around the island. There are about 10 different dive spots. They can be there anytime. You have to be in the right place, right time to see the barracuda. One thing for sure, you want to see the barracuda, you must at the spot where there is a very strong current. Yeah. So these are a good sign actually. The marine life and the coral increases. Next slide. Now, to me, this is my personal, I will rate the scale now, jumping from below 5 to up to 6. It could be 7. But it surely is improving. So the less number going to the island is a blessing actually. Yeah, next. Would it ever come back to the scale of 10? Answer, next one. Yes, of course. If you allow it naturally. I may not live enough to see it, but I hope I would. 10 out of 10. Where I will be seeing what I saw in 1983. That will be the best and the blessing. Okay. Next. Now, here is an incredible thing. In our course operation, I would like to say that we actually saved the island twice. Now, how? Next slide. Prior to 1983, when I went there in 1983, I saw the dynamiting was strong. There were damages everywhere. South Point to the Turtle Patch, the coral was devastated. But when we move in, the dynamiting stopped. We actually stopped them from being blasted out. Why? Because those bombers, those people, they never seen diver before. They see bubble coming out from the sea, they were scared, so they didn't want to. Ironically, when they dynamite the place, a lot of fish, school of fish, but 90% of the fish will sink to the bottom. They only manage to scoop up 10%. You see how wasteful it is? Not only on this, but they have blasted the coral. Magic, like in the South Point in Sipadan, was very, very devastated. So we saved the island by moving in. Next. Then we move out in 2004. We prevent the island from being further damaged by moving out. So next time. So isn't it ironical? We saved the island by moving in and moving out. Now it's easily said and done. In between that, there are a lot of argument, there are a lot of controversy, there are a lot of pain, there are a lot of court cases, blah, 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 blah. I don't know what to say, but I don't want to know. What I want to know is that I'm peaceful, I know what I have done, or I know the operator, what have we done together collectively, and we saved the island. Next. Now this is something that I need to explain very clear. In 25 years later, the legend's granddaughter, Alexandra Cousteau, who is a National Geographic explorer, came back to the island and explored the island, right, where her grandfather once stepped foot on. I'm trying to figure out if you watch the film The Ghost of the Sea Turtle, Jack Cousteau was narrating and the kid was talking at that point of time. It could be her, but I'm not sure. All right, next slide. And she is a very upcoming National Geographic explorer. Next. And this is what she quoted word for word when she came back from Sipadan. It's a very, very valuable, comment or remark. This was in 1988, which was 25 years ago. It is still the same now as it was then. The abundance is still as it was then. It is indeed the most beautiful place I have been. It is 10 out of 10. It is really a revelation. In Sipadan, I have never seen so many healthy corals, so many turtles, and so many fishes. Of course, her 10 of 10 is different from my 10 of 10. Because she has not seen what happened in 1983. But to her mind, this was perfect. Where can I can find a place like this in anywhere in the world? Sipadan is a real asset to our country, actually. Next. Do I look like this is me, yes. Now today we all stand tall because I'm still able to talk to you people about Sipadan. Now I want to highlight one thing, that our conservation effort in Sipadan has become a world role model in this area. I've been giving talks. I have people come and ask me to explain. In fact, I have the Minister of Tourism from Italy came to KK incognito and asked to see me privately, not involving any government. I said, why? I want you to explain to me, how did you do it? How did you vacate the island? In Italy, she said, I can actually ask people to not to go to the island, but I can never vacate or ask an operator to move out the island. So I explained to him, and they said, this is magic. This is really a role model that happens only in Sabah, in Malaysia. So we should all feel very proud. All right, this is it. Yeah, next. Now, before I end off, I'd like to show you some of the inspiring images that you can find in Sabah. Here, next slide. Now this is Sipadan. I took it recently. Look at the healthy corals. Next, the walls of Sipadan. Isn't it fantastic? Next, barracudas everywhere. All right. Next, the walls again. See the colorful walls? I mean, and the pufferfish, yes, and the walls. Go on, next. Now there are a lot of crevices with a lot of colors. This is one of the best places, if not the best, for photography actually. Don't be mistaken, I took all this picture with big giant camera. No, it's only a small TG Olympus camera. I'm not a salesman for TG, but I do get commission, by the way. Now, this is just a small camera, but it's very nice actually. Now, next, yeah. Barracuda, you see that? Next. Yeah. Very good subject. Giant parrotfish. See that, the school, giant parrotfish. Plenty of them. Next. Jackfish, yes, next. Look at the jackfish, yeah. Magic. Next. Now, this is a little bit intriguing. This is the silhouette of a juvenile bedfish. Why is like this? Because this is luminous. This is not. So when you have a strobe shine, it's shine on this edge and it reflected only the silhouette. It's a fish, not a drawing. Okay? Yeah, next. You can see the next picture. This is better. You can see the face. Yeah? So this is the juvenile bedfish. Go on. Yeah. Turtles. Oh boy. I tell you, turtles is everywhere. Go on the next few slides. It's all turtle. Big giant turtles. As big as the divers, as big as us. They're not shy. So photography subject is very good. Yeah? Next. See, this is in Sipadan. You can imagine this lady is small size. They can come very close. They are not shy actually. Yeah. Yeah. Of course, we have occasional manta rays. Yeah. And then next, whale shark too. Yes. Next few slides, whale shark. But they are not resident on the island. That's why they are not grouped into the big five. The big five are always there. Next. This is what do you call this? Electric clam. Yeah. Now, I was once told that Taiwan during Chinese New Year willing to pay 20,000 for one of these. Why? Because ang the red color signify good luck, prosperous. They believe it. Of course, I close everything. Yeah. Next. Now, very rare, the ranopia. You know what? This is taken in KK, Kota Kinabalu, right off there. Yeah. Next. Nemo, of course you know next. Yeah. Nemo, the most photographed fish, Nemo. Now, Gino crab, taken in Spaga Island. Nudibranch, it is a slug, very rare too. Next. Of course, a lot of photography subject. In Labuan, you have wreck diving there. Yeah, go on. Yeah, beautiful wreck. Yeah, next. Now, in Sabah, we have the mountain high to the ocean blue. And that's what I'm saying now. And in here, beautiful and scenic island, I'm developing from the ocean, go up to the top side and start taking picture of the birds now. So it was nice. Yeah, this is Bohai Dulang, by the way. Okay, next. We have actually heaven on top, but paradise underwater. Next. So that is what I can present to you. As I say, it's only one hour time, one hour here, and there are a lot of things I must have missed out, but I'm happy to go on to answer any question that you like, that I can answer. I'm happy to take question. Please, yeah. Yeah.
For those of us who aren't able to put a tank on and go deep, what about snorkeling conditions in Sipadan?
Now? Probably cannot now.
No.
They have changed a lot of policy right now by Sabah Park, which can be detrimental, but good or bad, I don't know. They actually only allow diver with advanced open water diver level to go, right? Am I right? Am I right? They allow snorkeling? Oh, they do. Okay. Tasa is from Bono Divers, so she can answer you. Go and find out from her. Yeah. 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 Next question. Any? While you are waiting for the question, I did mention to you the ghost of the sea turtle was one of the main reasons they explored to Sipadan to the whole world. The other reason is actually the publishing of an article by the world biggest dive magazine, Skin Diver, at that time, but it's no more. Skin Diver was the world's largest dive magazine, and the publisher came to the island, and he was just mind-boggled for him, and he decided to publish a 16 pages, they call it pull-out, like a magazine inside they can pull out, and but on one condition, that we have to advertise. You know what the amount of money at that point in time? That was before 1990. The amount is $10,000. I have to dig into my pocket and take out all my coins and my dollars and cents. I couldn't even afford half page. So eventually a compromise of both black and white and color, blah, blah, blah. And we advertised half a page. And it was distributed in DEMA, Diving Equipment Marketing Association show, which is the largest dive show in the world. I've been there 30 times. So this is another reason that actually explodes Sipadan to the whole world, apart from Jacques Cousteau, the ghost of the sea turtle. Yeah, question please. Yes.
The decompression chamber in the island still can be operated or no more?
Okay, he was asking, can the core chamber be operated? No, it is also costs a lot of money for us because it has to be certified every 5 years, and every year it got to be tested. And it's no joke, you got to get a professional in, and he count by hours, maybe like $1,000 an hour, including his flying time. So we had to train the operator here. To train the operators, our dive master mostly are chamber operators. It costs about 10,000 Malaysian ringgit each, but there are a lot of chamber operators. At the moment, no, it's no more operation. We left it on the island of Sipadan.
Any other location can be used such facility in Sabah?
Yes, Labuan.
Only Labuan. The Sepangga, the gone?
You're right. They have moved to Sepangga now, right? Oh, the chamber has been moved to Sepangga. Sorry, yes, okay. Yeah, they have moved to Sepangga now. Yeah, that's good news. But by the way, the chamber is not just for this year, actually is for treatment of gangrene or something like this. Any doctor, Dr. Chong should be able to explain, yeah? I have no experience with that. Oh, you cannot? Yeah, I think it can be treated, can be used in the hospital too. Yeah, doctor. No?
You cut it off.
Don't be like Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson slept in a chamber with the O2, by the way. That's why he was. Yeah.
So do you think the present, tourism policy, right, limiting the number of people going to Sipadan, obviously it is working. Yes.
Your question is.
I mean, at the present moment, our tourism policy of only allowing a limited number of people to go there, obviously it is working.
Well, yes, on the conservation and protection point, only allow a certain number of people to go into Sipadan is the right move. But again, as I say, it can be controversial. But I think it's now ruled under Sabah Park, and I do not really understand, honestly, I really do not understand the rationale. I like to quote it this way. Just now I mentioned that you have to have a minimum advanced open water diver to go to dive an island. Do you realize that to certify as an advanced open, it only take 9 or 10 dives? Versus an open water diver who have hundreds and hundreds of dives. Now who is more experienced? I said there's no logic. I would have advised them if they have come to me, said that, okay, good to have a benchmark of advanced open water diver, but also number of dives, good enough. You have 50 dive, 100 dive, you are open water, that's fine. That's fine. But I think the dispersion of the quota now have been increased, but I don't know how they are given to some operators and so on. I'm no link with them anymore, so I do not understand what's the criteria of distribution. Now, talking about quota, at that point of time when they decided to be 120 among the 6 operators, by the number of years that we have operated, we could have qualified for half of the quota. That means 60 out of 120 safely, but I didn't want it. I didn't want to get 60 because I want all the operators to survive. So we took only, I can't remember what, 15? Huh? 15. No, that time 15, right? Oh, 14, okay. So, and some operator actually come to tell to me, share with you this joke. He say, why, are you crazy or are you silly or what? You see, why didn't you take more? I said, why are you standing here and talking to me? You are still surviving. If I take more, you don't even stand here. You don't even have any quota at all. He said, you are right. Yes, I said, I'm right. That's why you survive. And that's why we all survive. But point is the Sipadan agenda being achieved? And I think for us, we are okay. Yeah. Any question, enemy? Happy? I hope. Yeah, okay, thank you very much.